Dr. Chris Preston. I'm at the University of Adelaide and I work on understanding and management of herbicide-resistant weeds. And part of what I'm going to talk about is about herbicide-resistant weeds and where we are and where we're going. And at the moment, we know that most grain growers would have some herbicide resistance somewhere on their farm. So everybody's managing it. But the issue we're going to be facing is management's going to get more complicated because we're getting resistance to more herbicides and in more weeds. Some of the things that are happening that are of concern to me are resistance to the pre-emergent herbicides in annual ryegrass. So we're getting resistance to the group J herbicides, so they're things like Boxer Gold and Arcade. But we're also getting our first inklings of possible resistance to the group K herbicides, to Sakura. And once we've gone there, we don't actually have any more herbicides that work in cereals. So that's a challenge. The other major challenge we're starting to see is more extensive resistance to herbicides in broadleaf weeds, particularly where a lot of pulses are grown in rotations. So we've had this particularly around lentils, with hurricane lentils, use of IMI herbicides, and several of our broadleaf weeds have now widespread resistance to the IMI herbicide. So that's sow thistle, prickly lettuce, and Indian hedge mustard. And there aren't too many other options that we can use for some of those weeds because they've also got resistance to other herbicides. So they're resistant to the group I herbicides, and Indian hedge mustard is also resistant to the triazines and to diflufenicin. So management of those weeds in cereal crops is going to be the key to management. Well, going into the future, we're just going to have to be better at management, and rotations are going to have to be a crucial component of that. One of the things that is really obvious is that when you start growing too many cereals, you get herbicide-resistant grass weeds, and when you grow too many break crops, you get herbicide-resistant broadleaf weeds. So getting that balance right is going to be important, and there probably have to be a little bit less chasing high prices just because they're high, because the weeds will actually get away from it. So getting that management right, being able to use techniques in cereals to manage broadleaf weeds and in our break crops to manage grass weeds is going to be an important part of that. So really focusing in those phases on those weeds and bringing everything we've got in. So we know that particularly in cereals and also canola, crop competition is a useful tool. It can give us up to 50% seed set reduction. So we need to be doing that. We need to be coupling that with our herbicide management, and we need to be stopping seed set as often as we can. And one of the outcomes of a lot of the research we've done is that we actually know what you should be aiming for to get ryegrass numbers down, and that is you need to be aiming for 3 tactics every year. And if you can achieve 3 tactics every year, we know you can run the seed bank down. Well, at the moment, mostly what we're going to be looking at is going to be looking at pre-emergent herbicide, we're going to be looking at crop competition, and we're going to be looking at something we can do at the end of the season, whether that's a crop topping application, even though crop topping is not terribly effective, say, in the cereal phase, but we know we can do it in canola, or, harvest weed seed management. You've got hay options, you've got a range of options around there, but you need to be trying to think about bringing those in as many years as is practical in the rotation.